Hello and welcome back to Step-by-Step GuitarTuition.com. This is the 5th lesson in the Step 5 module, and in this lesson we're going to look at improvising over chord progressions using a 2-octave A blues scale that I showed you earlier in the syllabus. And also I'm going to introduce you to a new lead guitar technique called sliding. Because you're still fairly new to improvising, I'm going to keep it simple and gradually throw in more lead guitar techniques as we progress through the step-by-step syllabus. Don't forget to refer to your lesson notes for more useful information. Before we begin, let me demonstrate the new lead guitar technique that's going to feature in this lesson. This technique is called sliding, and it involves plucking one note in a scale and then sliding up or down the string to another note without actually plucking the second note. To demonstrate this, I'll use 2 notes from the A blues scale, the 5th fret on the 4th string and the 7th fret on the 4th string. Start by plucking these 2 notes, 5th, 7th, 5th, 7th. Now we'll try plucking the 5th fret, and then, whilst keeping the pressure on, slide up to the 7th fret. And again. I'll show you that in close-up. Providing you keep the pressure on the string, you should hear the note rise in pitch. Also, you can do the same thing in reverse. Start at the 7th fret and then pluck the note and slide back down the string to the 5th. And again. I'll show you that in close-up as well. Okay, don't worry if you don't get it straight away, it'll get better with practice. This is known as a slide. A guitarist will use this technique to produce a smooth sliding sound between notes, as opposed to the more rigid sound of plucking the notes individually, like this. Try sliding between different notes on the scale, and also try using different fingers. For example, on the A blues scale, slide from the 5th to the 8th, 5, 6, 7. On the D string, 5 to 7. On the next string, on the 3rd string, 5, 7, 8. And then 5, 8 on the B. And then try doing it in reverse. From the 8th to the 5th with your 3rd finger this time, perhaps. And then on the 3rd string, 8, 7, 5. 7, 5 on the next string, 7, 6, 5, and then on the lower string, 8 to 5. So try using different fingers. We'll go up again, and back down. So now that you know how to slide between notes, let's try to incorporate that technique into our improvising. And also, don't forget to use the hammer-on and pull-off technique that we looked at in the previous step. For this exercise, we'll use the 2-octave A blues scale. Start by concentrating on small clusters of notes within the scale and see how many different phrases you can think of before moving on to a different cluster of notes. For the first exercise, I'm going to use the top 5 notes of the scale. And also I'll include some slides, for example from the 5th to the 8th and back again, and on the G string from the 7th to the 8th and 8th to the 7th. And also I'll include some hammers as well, 5 to 8 hammer on and maybe 7 to 8 hammer on the G string and pull off. Remember, you can play the notes in any order. and you can repeat notes or play as fast as slow as you like. So let's see what happens. For this second example, using the same scale, I'm going to use a different cluster of notes. This time I'll use the 5th on the B string, the 8th, 7th and 5th on the 3rd string, and on the 4th string the 7th and 5th. And I'm going to include slides between the 5th and 7th, and backwards, and the 7th and 8th on the 3rd string, and also between the 5th and 7th on the 4th string. And I'll include hammers as well. Hammer, hammer, hammer on, pull-offs. So let's just see what happens. For this third example, I'm going to use the low notes of the blues scale. On the 4th string, fret 7, fret 5. On the 5th string, fret 7, 6 and 5. And on the 6th string, fret 8 and 5. And I'm going to use slides between the 5th and 7th on the 4th string, and then black. And on the 5th string, slide between the 5th, 6th and 7th, or backwards. And sliding on the low E string between the 5th and the 8th, and the 8th and the 5th. And also I'll include hammers as well. Hammer on, pull off. Pull, hammer on, pull off. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, lastly, let's try mixing all up using the whole 2-octave scale, and also include slides in all the different places, 5 to 7, 8 to 7, using your different fingers to slide, sliding up and down, and also using hammers and pull-offs. Vary your phrases, play fast and slow, and don't be afraid to leave gaps or rests between phrases. Let's see what happens. That was an introduction to improvising with slides. As we progress through the step-by-step syllabus, you'll learn more lead guitar techniques which you can use to add interest to improvising. You can find the chord sequences that we played over today in the notes that accompany this lesson. Also, you can find longer versions of the backing tracks to improvise over on the step-by-step website, or you can make your own up for a bit of extra chord practice. I look forward to seeing you in lesson 6, where I'll show you how to use palm muting to add interest to your strumming technique. Until then, happy improvising.